Hey YouTube. Well, today I wanted to show you guys this car that, a car that I've been waiting to actually drive and do a video on. This one's actually an ex-rental. It's a 2011 Hyundai Elantra. This is the new generation Elantra. Now, I've driven the old generation Elantra plenty of times, so I was really excited to drive the new one, especially since it's been a really hot seller for Hyundai ever since it came out with its curvaceous, fluidic sculpture design and whatnot. Now, the design, some people like it, some people don't. Most people like it. I don't really like it. I think it looks better than the old Elantra. I think it'll look dated relatively fast within the next couple of years. But, I mean, nevertheless, it's a really nice redesign from Hyundai. But there's still some things that don't really appeal to me. Like, I read about this car a lot in road tests and comparison tests, and some magazine companies, whatever, they give it first place and some don't, and I would probably be the ones that don't give it first place just because of the way it drives. Hyundai still has a little bit to learn. But in terms of the styling, this one's pretty much a base model. It's a GLS, I believe. It doesn't have the GLS, the popular equipment package, because it has the 15-inch steel wheels on it, no fog lights. But, let's go inside and I'll show you guys the interior. This one actually has 31,000 miles on it already, so it's definitely an ex-rental. The chime sounds like a Toyota, the dinger chime. And what disappoints me really badly is this key. Hyundai's been using this key for a long time. It's a pretty ugly looking, dated key. I know they have a newer key in their other vehicles, but this base Elantra doesn't have it, obviously, because you can get push button start in this car. The gauges look pretty nice, though. I will give them props for that. The starter noise definitely sounds better than that Veloster with the 1.6 liter engine, thankfully. But this one has Hyundai's new 1.8 liter engine. It's a little windy out here today. It's a fairly slow revving engine. Doesn't really impress me that much, honestly. It's kind of noisy too at the upper revs. And it makes a little bit of a nasty noise. The Focus has a much more refined 4-cylinder than this, and the Civic. But anyways, let's go over the interior quality a bit. This fluidic sculpture theme kind of carries over to the inside. I mean, you got this swoopy silver colored plastic here, these vents that are really lowly placed in the dashboard. You got hard plastics right here, but this upper part of the dashboard is soft touch, at least, and it's a really nice soft touch material. This is hard plastic and it's a little bit flimsy. Now this probably isn't too fair because this is the base trim. It's one that you find at rental lots, so I'm sure that Hyundai's probably skimped a little bit. Armrest here is padded, and there's actually no power port in there, so that's a little bit disappointing. I think it's because Hyundai puts it over here instead with your USB. The door panel here has a pretty cheap plastic on it, cheap right there. So it seems like Hyundai should have just moved the soft touch plastics to over here, since this is where you touch anyways. But you do have a nice padded armrest right here where your elbow's going to rest. The window's automatic down, but not auto up. So that's a little disappointing considering my Fit has an auto up, and the Focus does too. These climate controls are kind of interesting because, for one, I kept turning this knob thinking it was the fan speed, but it's not. It's actually the temperature, and this is the fan speed. And you cannot get automatic climate control on this car like you can on Focus, so it's something that Hyundai's not doing. I think you can for the Hyundai just launched the Elantra Coupe and Elantra Touring, the wagon. I think you can on the wagon, but it's kind of silly to me because Hyundai likes to brag about how this car has heated rear seats, but you can't get dual zone automatic climate control or power seats like you can on a Focus. This is pretty much their pedestrian sound system. At least it does have XM in this car, but it's been disconnected. Fairly pedestrian sound system, just like you get in a base Civic or Focus. Steering wheel doesn't have any audio controls, and it does have cruise control, thankfully. But overall, I mean, the engine's idling right now. It's fairly smooth, but it does get rather raspy and noisy at higher revs, so that's a little disappointing. Let me show you that engine anyways, and let me pop the trunk. It doesn't have direct injection, Yeah, I mean, Hyundai gets good gas mileage numbers out of this car, 29, 40 with either transmission. But not a fairly pretty looking engine, but this is Hyundai's 1.8 liter 4-cylinder, 148 horsepower. No direct injection. And honestly, it makes 8 more horsepower than the Civic's, but I think I prefer the Civic's engine, and I definitely prefer the Focus's engine more. Backseat room is rather decent in this car, but you do have to duck your head from that sloping roofline, and then you got these same cheap plastics right here, but at least it's still padded right there. But yeah, I'm pretty short, and I have to duck my head pretty badly to get in the back seat, but at least you do get an armrest right here, so that's really nice. No vents or anything back here, but that's expected. In terms of the trunk space, good trunk. Has a really wide opening, really big opening. Goes in pretty well. This is a much better trunk than what you get in a Civic or a Focus sedan. But the Focus hatchback, though, has this car beat. But of course, Hyundai now has that Elantra touring hatchback. I like how the gas pedals bolts to the floor, though. That's really nice. But anyways, let's take you guys on the drive, and that's probably my biggest disappointment with this car, was how it drives. But I mean, what this car is, essentially, because I never really liked the Corolla, this car kind of reminds me of it's kind of like the car that Toyota never built, or this kind of has turned into the Corolla. The way it drives, how it's very smooth, how the steering's really numb, how it rides well, while the Focus is kind of turning into the Civic. But I mean, this car has a 6-speed automatic, so thankfully it's a big improvement from the 2010 model, which had a 4-speed auto and that 2-liter iron block 4-cylinder. My only gripe with the transmission is it's kind of slow shifting. I mean, it's not quick shifting like the 5-speed auto on the Civic or the 6-speed dual clutch in the Focus. And I'll show you what I mean in just one second. I mean, it gets up to speed decently well, but man, when you push in that engine, it makes quite a bit of racket under there. Focus is definitely quieter at higher revs. Same with the Civic. The Civic's 1.8 is much more refined than this car's 1.8. But I mean, in terms of the handling, I mean, it's fairly numb. It feels like a Corolla. It feels like the last generation Corolla and how it drives, which isn't a bad thing. I mean, there are people that are in the market for a subcompact that want this. That's why it sells so well. But I mean, for the driving enthusiasts, they're going to go for the Civic or the Focus. Well, the new Civic's gotten gotten soft, but they'll go for the Focus or a Mazda 3. While the Corolla buyers who don't like how cheap the Corolla has gotten will go for this car. But anyways, guys, if you're in the market for an Elantra and this is more to your style, definitely should give it a look. But if you're looking for something sportier, take a look at the Focus or the Mazda 3. But anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Have a great day.